What's up guys, Dan here, Coalcracker. This T60 has been through the ringer. I actually sewed this up in the field this past year. This has been set up literally thousands of times because we use it almost every single class. And one of the questions we get asked so often about these things is quick deployment. Like, is there a way to set this up? Because there's a lot going on in this little bag, okay, in a sense of volume that can get you a little bit tangled up per se when setting this up. So we get asked this all the time, and I just recently did a video on rapid response. So we really want to, if you're carrying something like our T60, you want to just be quick and efficient with it when it's time to set that up. And listen, this thing, you don't need to leave this packed away until it's like the end of the world scenario. You can use this for overnight camps, use it for when rainstorms come through and you're out on a hiking trail, use it as a wind block when you're at camp. Use these things, they're super durable, and that's really what we designed them for, to use them all the time, not just for like, I have to sleep under this thing for the next 12 hours. Use it for everything, okay? Even a ground mat, they work great. So the T60, when you get the thing, if you have one and you open it up, there's gonna be lots of material in it. It's very simplistic in nature, but like I said, there's a lot going on in this small bag as far as volume goes. So we have the shelter system itself. When I open it up, opens up, you have all this material. Two of the ends, the back side of the shelter, are going to have these sewn in loops, and that's what actually stake out to the ground because these are set up in a lean-to configuration. And the other two corners, all right, are going to have our tie-out ropes on them, okay? So this is what ties off to the trees and gives you your setup. So once you open this thing up, okay, you're also going to notice that in one of the corners near the tie-out, okay, which this one is all stitched up, you are going to have our sewn-in pocket. So this is the storage pocket. You're not going to lose it, or it's not going to get trapped under snow in a snowstorm. It's right in there into the shelter, and that's important to note because when you set up your shelter for quick deployment, you need to know that. So what we like to do first is you come to the corner that has the sewn-in pouch, and you're going to take those strings, and what you're going to do is you're not going to do anything fancy. I know we always teach like the figure 8 for our lines and stuff like that. All that I want you to do is you're just going to wrap it lightly. We're not pulling this super tight. We're just going real lightly around my fingers like this, and you're going to even see the two ends are just dangling here loosely. And then don't tie them up, don't do anything, but get those ends ready, and then take your bag and tuck that to the bottom of the bag on the shelter itself. So that corner of line is now in the bag. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take all the rest of this and you're going to start to feed it into your stuff bag. Now the easiest way to do this is to, on the flap of the bag, hold it, okay, with your middle and ring fingers, and then use your thumbs and index fingers to fill the rest of the bag up, okay? So we're just doing this, and you can see I'm just working all of that in. Real nice and easy. It is slippery material, so it's gonna feel when you first start this once in a while like you're losing grip. So it's the easiest way, what I just said, by you going and setting it up that way, okay? Again, speed of putting this away is not important. Speed of deploying it is what is important, okay? Now, as I get towards the end, I want to make sure that the other string is the last thing that's going to go in the bag. So if I'm like offset, or I pushed it in the bag crooked, it's not a big deal. Just like muscle it in there, okay? It's like a stuff sack for a reason. We just stuff it in there. Now, once we get to the end, okay, you can see my line still hanging out. Just take the top of the bag and close it because it has a flip over closure, just like this, and we have all this line hanging out, okay? Now you're going to do the same thing with this line. You're just going to wrap it around your fingers in a circular motion, and then at the end I leave about a 4 to 6 inch tail, okay? I take it off my fingers and I tuck it up into the top flap, or you could tuck it down into the bag, leaving those little tails exposed just like this, okay? And that's important because that is going to be your starting point when you set it up. So now at this point I would put this away. If you're using something like a Ranger band or hair ties to make this thing even tighter, just roll it up and tighten it up this way, which you can see how small these things can actually get compacted, and you can still see we have these little, what I like to call fuses, sticking out, okay? And then when we're gonna set up our shelter, you'd either take off your your hair ties, or you can, if you pack it a lot of times like this, you are gonna just take your two ends, you're gonna pull them out, and you see they're fine. They're not tangled up, they're not knotted up, they just fall out of the pouch. And then this end would get tied to the tree with everything inside the pouch. Okay, and that way, once this end's tied up against the tree and I pull, what it's going to do then is it's going to deploy the rest of that out, and the very last thing that comes out of the bag is going to be the other string. We tie that up to the tree and we're good to go. So setting this thing up for a rapid deployment is going to be extremely important, because it's just going to make life that much easier, and especially in an emergency, if you're cold or you're wet or it's dark, you know how that shelter is going to be coming out of the built-in storage sack, and I think that's really important, and it has helped students at all of our courses that we use these things at when they are setting these things up, like I said, in the dark, in the cold, and they're frustrated and they're tired. It just helps tremendously. So if you have a T60, set it up this way. If you don't have one, I'll put the link down in the description. Again, they're great shelter systems, and don't just think of them as like, I can only use this one time. Use this for everything. That's why we made the thing, so you have it with you at all times. So if you like this video, hit like and subscribe. You can also check us out at Coalcrackerbushcraft.com for all our classes, our gear, and our blog. And until the next video, stay in your shelter, stay in the woods.